meet the needs of your neighborhood. We're getting too crazy with all this left ideology and these great ideas. Honestly, I want to give everyone something for free, but where's the pot of gold for that, you know?
Well,
in Ireland still, right?
14 days we have our election, which is more important to me than the Senate race. That's not until February. So to me, citywide race on the city side.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Yeah,
politics.
I definitely think Eric Gitcher will top the ticket without a doubt. I think the other two people better work hard, because I think Sixto might slide in, only because he has a lot of support. He has everybody that we were just talking about, everybody on the left, CBA, Coalition of Better Acre, and he has a share of signs around.
He's been a banker too, and everybody knows that banker. You know, you go cash a check on Thursday. We still don't. Do we still have checks out there?
Nobody
I don't
cashes
think.
checks.
No, but he was young teller. That's where I first made contact with him.
Well, the reason why I believe he'll come in third, have you met the person? If you met him, he's one hell of a guy. He's a good guy.
Right.
And that's going to get him votes because of the years he's worked in the bank, like you said.
Yep.
But I'd be worried. If I was Rodney, I'd be worried. But we'll see what happens.
Rodney, you mean?
Vesna, no. I'm sorry, Vesna, no.
Just the incumbents.
Now, Vesna, you kidding me?
Yeah.
If signs could vote, Vesna would be mayor today. Yeah. Vesna has signs all over the city.
You got to remember, signs don't vote.
Well, I'm hearing that he's quietly backing Caldito, is that his name?
Marcos
and
Candino.
That guy Lang. Is it Sidney Lang?
Sidney Lang, yeah.
Because he's lining up trying to
I think
votes for mayor.
Sidney's coming Friday. What's his name? The other kiddo, he won't call me back. Neither will Danny Finn.
That could
He
be
was
true.
on here, the kid, but once, right?
Yeah, I wanted him to come back, but he won't call me back.
That could be true. You know, he was the only one that voted no on the letter they proposed to send to the State House in regards to the injection sites. You know,
Yeah.
Really?
I live in District 3, and I talked to quite a few people, and there's more people that they're not left. They're not on the left side of things, and that's why I think Danny Finn will end up winning by a small margin. It's going to be a tight race. I mean, someone in that race in District 3, I believe you might win between 20 and 30 votes. That's
You
what.
said that earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible race.
well,
And I don't think these endorsements mean a thing. I really don't.
They don't hurt you.
no, but I mean
no,
their
like-
name recognition. I mean, they bring some votes along, but I still say to people out there, don't vote for someone because someone tells you that's their candidate. Vote selfishly. Vote for the guy that's going to give you a girl or whoever is running. That's going to give you the most, especially local elections.
The Little Sun, I wonder why they had such a big article about this in today's paper about her. You know, she must be, used to call them sunflowers, because I don't see any other articles about other candidates in there like that.
Well, I think she provides a lot. She's a smart individual, writes well, easy to do that. If you're gifted, then it's easy as a lawyer, right, to write stuff and send it in. You know what I mean? And then the paper today is looking for anyone to write something so they can get their website up as quick as possible.
You don't know what a candidate's going to be until they're actually in office. Once they're in office, then you get a flavor.
It all changes.
Oh yeah.
Promises.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite stories to tell is a anti-democratic story. There's this lady, and she's getting married, and it's her fourth marriage. So she's in the wedding gown store. And she says, "I want a white gown. This is my fourth wedding." And the saleswoman says, "Oh, miss, you should have like pink or
A yellow.
not white." And she says, "The weddings were never consummated." All three of your husbands never consummated? Yes, the first one, my husband died on the way to the honeymoon hotel, had a heart attack, and he died. My second husband, we had a terrible fight at the reception, and we both went home, and the marriage was annulled. And my third husband was a Democrat. He sat on the edge of the bed for 4 years and told me how wonderful it was going to be. And after the fourth year came, I left him.
Oh, my younger days, I said some rude things in my life.
Not you, Bobby.
Well, I did, and people used to say, "How come Michelle stays with you for so long?" And I always said, "It's because we both love me." Things like that. Yeah, I did. I said some stupid things in my life, but
I've learned to. They used to tell me at town hall I'd never filter, but I've learned to calm it down a little bit. I said some things too, like Bobby probably shouldn't have said, but.
I know most of us really good here. Cisco, I'm getting to know him better, but most of us love our grandchildren, and that's what
It's all about with me.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, and
It's
that's
all
what,
about family.
and that's what makes a wife love you more. How you respond to the grandchildren.
Grandchildren are the reward for not killing your children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the term I was trying
Yeah.
to think of the other day. I was trying to tell
I
somebody.
like that thought.
Yeah, and it's just amazing what some of them go through. Some kids go through some tough times.
Oh,
After birth, they have a lot of complications, and then I think God's a big part of every one of us. I know He saved me, without a doubt. Lowell General was a great starter. They saved me. Tufts Hospital saved me.
Now, you
But it's
using
the
that
people-
during your campaign because Trump
No,
used it.
but the people
God
that-
saved you for a reason.
One at a time, boys.
But the people that pray for you and the cards that you get, when I look at people that are over 90 years old sending me a card, it kind of makes your day. There's no doubt about it. I know I've said many good things about Timmy Fallon and his family. His mother and father are both over 90, and they sent me multiple cards, and each one just made me stronger. It really did, and it's just amazing what people, visitors, friends, they come to the hospital to see you, and they just make you stronger by the day, But our election in Lowell, I look at District 3. That's very important to me. I live in it. And the only reason why I feel we even have a shot to win with Danny Finn, that's a friend of mine, a family member of mine. That's how I feel about him. But Friends of
What's he
Lowell.
done?
Oh, what's he done is the same thing I basically done. He done the Friends of Lowell High football, Friends of Lowell High softball. I'm someone that's going to do a video.
Bring him in.
Wait a minute. I'm going to do a video soon about baseball. I have so much to say over in the South Common. It's my godfather, his stone's over there. Callery Park is my Uncle Dan Newell. There's a stone over there. My Uncle Bill played in the state championship against Keith Academy out at Shed Park when we had 4,000 or 5,000 people watching the game. I was up on the hill smoking cigarettes, I'm not going to lie to you. But he made 2 errors and we lost. Lowell High lost. But after those 2 errors, they made him captain of Lowell High baseball. In 1969, he became captain. Now we got Danny Finn pushes all sports, especially softball right now. But then you look at Eric Gitch's son, just got hired as an assistant baseball coach at Lowell. Division I baseball. We're going to see over 20 games over there at Spinners Park. Division I. That's quite a feat. To me, that's better than having.
What's Division One?
Division I is your colleges of, Division I, like.
I don't know. That's why I'm
Yeah,
asking you.
it's
the
like.
cream of the crop.
Yeah, the cream of the crop. It's the step before the pros. So I think that alone, it's 20 games or more. Then we have a person that was signed by Lowell. My best friend, he was on this show, Kevin Scott. You know the guy that picks
Yep.
up your trash. His son, Seamus Scott, he just got signed to pitch for them. He's only a freshman. He's already pitched a little bit down in Florida. So I'm looking forward to all of that. I might do a video, see if I can get my uncle to be out on the field and show people how you made the 2 errors that we lost to Keith Academy. I talk about that because it doesn't bother him. Anybody can make an error in baseball, you know that.
Oh, yeah.
And,
So that
I'm
poor
just
guy
a-
that made the error in which game was it? He made the bad throw. I forget, the Philadelphia game. He made a very terrible throw, and it's awful because it was knocking the guy, and it was like,
You can win World Series on errors too.
Yeah,
Didn't the Red
yeah,
Sox win?
yeah.
And we're gonna,
Boy, what does Danny Finn do for a living? Is he
he's a
guy?
captain out at Barica,
That's what I
you know.
thought. Yeah,
He's a
Correctional officer.
correct,
Yeah.
which I like to say prison guard, but
sure.
yeah, I don't know how they do that. you know?
Is he on any like boards and all or anything right now, or is he like Board of Appeals, a planning board? Or anything?
No, he just, you know, he has 2 children that just come out of, they're college age now, but he's done a lot for the sports, football.
No, he's got Nora. If he didn't have Nora, he wouldn't have
Nora's a
run.
big help.
He would not have won the first.
But he's also
race.
looking at retiring, my understanding, no? And doing, being able to put more time into seat here in Lowell.
You know,
Good for him.
Cisco, when you run it, you did a great job
Thank you.
running an election, a real good job. I'm surprised you didn't,
I was
you
shocked
didn't
when I
win.
read that.
But again, I know I won the school seat 4 times. I lost city council 3 times. This will be the 8th election that I've been involved in. But when I first run, I put the name Bob Hoey on the signs. That was my dad. He knew everybody. He drove a taxi for 40 years. He knew everybody. And he'd have my bumper sticker in his taxi, and it's real important. Family is really important. Red Hoey, Billy Hoey, all of those bring votes, you know, to the polls for you. There's no doubt. And if you have a lot of cousins and friends and family, which I did, that definitely helped me. I never raised money, actually.
Yeah.
Till recently, one school seat, I raised some money. I always spent my money like you did. And I'm telling you right now, stay involved, because I thought you did a bang-up job.
He's not going anywhere.
I'm not
No,
going,
no, I know.
I'm here to learn from you guys and maybe definitely be involved and make the city better. We're really excited. We had Tommy at the neighborhood meeting last night, and the city manager, and he pitched the front runner city and gave more information, and people are excited. We're looking. I'm optimistically cautious, but I'm also excited, thinking that this might work, and we got money invested now. Let's make it happen. Let's hit a home run, right?
Was this your neighborhood council? Your Highlands neighborhood?
Yes, upper. Well, it's the Highlands.
It went good.
Oh, it went very well. We got
some people from St. Margaret's there, church. There was an issue. I know that I was told. They were going.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
There was
You
a
know if it was
couple.
addressed?
We
All right.
addressed it
All
in
right.
regards to the homeless
Yeah, okay.
living
All
on the property.
Yeah.
And one thing that we stress on Captain Damaris, who's an excellent representation for the police department. He comes
Sure.
in and gives a good on spiel to the neighborhood on meetings, and we're lucky to have him. But the one thing that I stressed, and we want to stress to property managers that are having on issues, the only way a police officer can enforce the trespassing law is there has to be a sign on your property. It doesn't have to be in, somewhere in someone's face, but it has to be visible, so when the officer shows up and he's gathering the probable cause to make an arrest, it's there, and he can make a statement like, I came on the property, there's a sign, it's visible, it says no trespassing. And the other thing is, unfortunately, when you get there, you have to see the person on the property.
But
Those are-
when I listen to the scanner, a lot of times I'll hear, and I listen to it all day, is you'll hear go to McDonough funeral. I'm leaving McDonough funeral for a property check. How do you get your property check? I mean, I hear them either go to Parks, they go here, they go there. Is that something that St. Margaret's would do?
Oh, yeah. Call the non-emergency number,
Okay.
or, if it's an emergency. If you feel fear in itself is a crime, let's face that. If you feel fearful, 911 is fine. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't need to, do the non-emergency. If you're afraid and you think that something bad's going to happen, I say go 911. Go through the 911 call.
So I'm
but
sure-
the non-emergency number, if it's still the same, is 937-3200.
Right.
978 is the area code.
So this Captain Damaris said, is that his?
Yes, Captain
So
Damaris.
he advised St. What to get no trespassing signs last night? Is that what
Yes,
he-
yeah.
good. They'll do it. They'll
But,
do it.
I mean, they, the thing with the church, they're open and they feel, well, we're open to the public. We want the public to feel welcome. Yeah, it's not a problem. Just put the sign around the corner of the building.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not the main door. But you have to have it on the property so that when an officer goes to the scene and he's gathering information to write down, probable cause to testify, because he's going to write a report. It's basically a summary. It's not in-depth report, but he needs to recall the facts.
Sure,
So
sure.
he needs to say, look, on the time that I arrived, I observed a sign. It was clearly visible. I observed the guy on the property had no right to be there. He was already told to leave numerous times.
Yeah.
And at this point, the most effective way to get this message to this person that's trespassing is lock them up, you know? And the other thing is, and some of these people, you know, you also lock them up because you're also giving them an opportunity to get help through the court system, because they have outreach programs that are available for people, you know, and sometimes that saves someone's life, you know. That's one less call that you have to call a loved one and say, hey, we found your loved one deceased, you know.
I know that 30 years I've been involved in local politics. If I was ever on the city council, I'd be bragging about policemen, because I think the two most important occupations are teachers and policemen. Cops, plain and simple, I call them cops. And I worked in a prison. It's almost the same system, but we're behind a wall and we don't have a pistol on us. All we got is a pen. So to me, you just need sergeants and a shift commander. I wouldn't have anything else. That's the most important position in my lifetime, was always a sergeant. And then police, I know Timmy Golden personally. He's a little bit like me. He's a little bit of a troublemaker on the side. But as a sergeant, he was tremendous. Tremendous. The way he handled his staff. And that's all you need, is a good sergeant. That's just my opinion. It's
Okay,
an
Mr. Bomil, would you read these two, please?
You also put in in the time, Bob. I see you every morning at the bridge near St. John's. What are Joran's accomplishments? You never see her. I'm sure that meant.
She's
Mr. Finn is
coming
putting in
for the
time.
third time on Halloween.
Halloween or this Friday?
No, I made a mistake. I just checked the calendar.
Okay.
Sydney Lang's coming this Friday.
But let me get back to what I was saying about police. To me, they're that important. You're going to have Rodney Elliott on at 7 o'clock. There's no doubt in my mind, in my neighborhood, Tom Machado, he married into that family.
Yeah.
Tom Machado was very powerful as a policeman during my time.
During my time, too.
Well, I know if I did wrong, I'd get the boot.
That big hand.
The boot and that bone. Instead of him bringing me home and ratting me out to my father, he straightened me out on the shores of the Concord River several times. I was too young, I shouldn't be drinking. I'm too young, you shouldn't be smoking. He always was on top of us, you know? And that's why I think policemen are very important, especially in a city like Lowell. It's how you communicate with people. You know, it's not always how many you bust or how many times you flex your muscle. Because I always had a problem. Go ahead, John.
Cisco, you're a recently retired cop.
Yes. March 1st.
Now, body cams. So you catch, I'm an underage drinker, I'm drinking under the bridge. With body cams, can you let me go?
Unfortunately, that's becoming an issue because...
Well, I'm just asking, I'm a kid. Can you just take my
be
beer and
honest,
let me go?
I have the discretion. I would justify that. If it's a kid that I would do
I
it.
didn't get an answer. Are you letting me go or are you taking me into, am I going to arrest me?
It depends on
Start with the answer.
The big.
I'm
the
drinking
big-
Budweiser's on
One
the
at a
Concord
time,
River.
boys.
No, he keeps on dancing around the question. I'm giving him, you caught me red-handed. I'm drinking Budweiser at the edge of the Concord River. What do you do? Are you gonna arrest me or take my beer and tell me, if I catch you again, I'm gonna bust you? You got the body cam
And
on.
we have a camera. Well,
the body cam on.
with a camera, you'd arrest a person. Unfortunately, that's the only choice you have today because the fact that the body cameras are now being used against officers for discipline, and they're taking that discretion away. I personally think that sometimes, as a police officer that's been out there for 20 years, have some connection with the community. As a beat officer, you know your neighborhood, and do you really want to hamper a young person's life? And when they become adults, when you could probably give them a break, and that might be the change that they need. But if you run to that, if you do that once, with a body camera and it's questioned, then you legally are not doing your job, and you could get fired for it. So,
Well, and the thing is, if that person that's drinking went out and got hit by a car or got killed, you'd be gone.
yeah, I mean, it's tough because you're talking to someone who grew up with the old policing and the new policing today with body cameras. There will be no discretion, and people need to adjust to that. The other thing I'm really concerned with is the Gen Z not being willing to be police officers. We really have to do a better recruiting job and trying to get the next generation of police officers involved. It's not everyone that's out there can be a cop. We as a community choose our very best folks to represent us and to save us and protect us. And we need to really engage with the community. We need to stop pounding on police officers. They're bad people everywhere, but the majority of your police officers are really good individuals that are every day going out there and putting their life on the line. Every time you go to a call and you knock on the door, you don't know how that's going to end. And it's those calls are usually the ones that end up taking a police officer's life, because you go in there, you're thinking you're just going to deal with a normal, a decent person, let's say, and it turns really bad real quick, But no, discretion is being minimized with the body cameras, and unfortunately, it's going to hurt a lot of people. I mean, if you have money, then, you can always work a deal through the court system.
I want to follow up on John's question because I was downtown during that thing this weekend for what it was called, Kings, No King, and these kids were doing that bicycle thing. Can a police officer, if they catch the kid doing it and they get him, can they arrest him for that?
Yeah,
The traffic riding their bikes in the middle of the...
You have enough probable cause. It's called
Okay.
disorderly.
Okay.
You get them under disorderly.
Yeah, that's all it'll take.
So disorderly.
All it's going to take is one kid to get killed, too, unfortunately. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Oh, the good thing, that's a good thing for body cameras, because if you record the incident. Now, the one thing, too, also that I like about body cameras, it records the evidence for the judges to, sentence these people. When you go
Okay.
in and you show the kid on the bike and you see the traffic being affected by his acts, that's clearly disorder in terms of what the law says.
Mm-hmm.
And they should sentence the person. But
Cisco, do the cruisers have cameras?
no, not all the cruisers. Some
We're
of
too
the
cheap.
traffic units have cameras.
We're too cheap to put them in.
They're expensive.
Last time I checked, the city has they have loaded with coverage going into my pocket.
Yes.
Why don't we have cameras on the cruisers?
Well, the cruisers don't live that long. They have a short span.
What? They're still driving Crown Vics.
Not too
way I
many.
haven't
Not
seen one.
frontline cruisers.
Yeah.
I would think a cruiser is.
Why don't we
is-
drop a few? Right now, I'm told there's $5,000 worth of lights on the cruiser.
I agree.
Why don't we drop that down to $3,000 worth of lights and put a camera system in?
But you got body cameras on the offices.
The cruiser cam captures everything.
But I think John's right. If that cruiser's driving down the street and he sees these kids on these bikes, he could record that.
Like
with
that
the
state
cruiser.
trooper that climbed into the car because the kid was going after a gun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That
no.
wasn't shown on the body cam.
I would think that, if you work on trying to slim down the number of lights on, you could probably budget on a camera into it. Cameras have gone down. The prices of phones have gone down. You know what I mean? I honestly think the officers all should be issued a telephone so they can gather information and use that to make the process much easier on the detectives that gather some of the photographs and statements and stuff like that. Plus, there's a lot of stuff that you can do if you have an electronic device to speed the process up with gathering information and get it to the rest of the officers that are connected with those devices.
What amazes me is these kids and these bikes, and they do that wheelie thing. They don't fall. They figure they go back and break their back. It's amazing.
But that comes with this generation of social media and trying to be an influencer. They're really putting their lives on the line. The kids get killed all the time, you know.
You see some. What's the idea with the mask? Are they can't be seen, or like some wear masks right up to their nose. So
Yeah, because they know that they're doing something illegal, okay, and they're trying to hide their identity. Because again, you go into court, you have to identify. You know, you see it on TV. Can you identify the defendant? You know, or the guy over there with the suit on and the tie. You know.
You know, during the late 60s, 69, 70, 71, I was driving over 100 miles an hour on the streets of Lowell.
I just was going to say that, Bob.
I had a rice rocket. I always owned a rice rocket.
Them were the good old days.
Yeah, well, if you did that over on the boulevard, you know who would catch you. That cop. Remember that cop that he ticketed his mother?
Arthur Diet.
There you go.
One Adam Diet.
I knew Tom would get that. And
Now, what's an ice rocket,
and
Bobby?
it's just any Japanese bike.
Oh, okay.
I always had a Ninja 1000, Kawasaki 1000s, and they can
And you're
almost do
still alive?
almost 200
That's
miles an
you're
hour.
a good rider. Then.
Holy cow.
Yeah, but on the way to the beach, I used to do about $140, average of 130 to 140 miles an hour. Because if you went by a cop, he don't even want to start his car.
So, Tommy, you want to read these?
John, you asked, what has Finn done for the city? As a lifelong Llewellian, my question is, who is Joanne? Never heard of her before. How did she become so popular? It's tough being a police
She's very popular in Belvedere.
Yeah, she's going to put that
And-
Belvedere crowd.
And very popular in Belvedere. She has her own newsletter. She's active in the Belvedere Neighborhood Association. And most of all, she answers her phone when I call her. Any politician who will not answer their phone doesn't have my trust. They don't answer their phone. Some politicians, you go like, I'm calling candidate so-and-so. You've reached 978 LOSSER. They don't even say who they are on their voicemail. You say, you know, you're not on your voicemail? Oh, I didn't know that. How long have you had your phone, dummy? They're not even on their own voicemail. So Tommy, and she's coming October 31st. I'm waiting to hear back from Danny Finn. Please continue with the other three.
Okay, it's tough being a police officer nowadays, especially when the media portray them as militant thugs. We also feared our parents. If I got in trouble with the police, I was afraid my dad would have told them, keep him, he says. So how many cops cars have plate readers?
And in the city of Lowell, there's probably 2 right now that do plate readers. And those are really good because they pick up a number of plates fairly quick and run them through. And when you run through a neighborhood, you can pick up unregistered vehicles, which you really want off the road because if they're unregistered, they're uninsured. And if they get in an accident, people get hurt and someone else has to pay for the damages.
Some of the towns had the plate readers removed from their cruisers because there were too many violations to keep up with it. Tommy, you want to read that latest one?
Don't forget, there were cameras on Jeffrey Epstein.
Back to you guys.
You know,
Now, but
trying to
Bobby,
become-
you ran 6 times, right? 6 times,
Yeah.
7 times, whatever. How important do you think endorsements are? Like I saw today, I was saying earlier that Howe Donahue, Nancy Donahue, and Nikki Songas endorsed Duran. Yeah. I don't. Do you think it helps, hurts if you say if?
I don't think it would hurt you, but I don't think it gives you a big advantage.
Because I
either.
think, because some people don't like those people. They're going to say, I'm not voting for them. You know?
Yeah, I don't want to get lost on talking about police right now. Right now, it's very easy if you need a job to become a policeman or a prison guard. They're both well-paying jobs with a pension. You can get into a prison so easy, it's crazy. They can't get the help. And policemen nowadays, it's a little bit easier than when you first started.
Oh, no, definitely. We got a lot more tools to do the job. We got tasers, we got pepper spray, we have better communication, and definitely we have body cameras. The job's much easier. And the one thing, too, is that a lot of the younger kids today are a lot healthier too, and are keeping themselves in better shape. So that definitely helps you with the job.
Yeah. The job that's very hard to get in Lowell especially is being a fireman. Very hard. If you're not related to one of them, I don't think you can get a job. You have to have a relative in that department
Really?
to get. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably the toughest job around. Very powerful group of people too, the firemen. You always want to get their support in any election.
Yeah.
It's like Danny Rourke, he gets a lot of support from them. This year, you're going to see Eric Gitchie get most of the support from firemen because the way he fought for he fought for them. Safety of firemen.
Sure.
And I hear the words when I'm talking to them. I have a lot of friends that are firemen. I have relatives that were policemen. My mother used to clean the chief of police's office way back. I even forget
Hey,
that.
Bobby, what value do you think there is to bringing back, you have to be a city resident to work in the city? Boston does it.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I always did. I remember you giving me the idea, remember?
Yep.
About custodians. We had 100 at the time, and more than 50% lived out of Lowell. That made no sense to me at all. Speech pathologist and special needs and type of things, you're going to have to go outside of Lowell to find them. But a custodian, we can't find one in Lowell? It's crazy.
Well, we're going to be
crazy.
able to find a lot of people with this front runner city with all these beautiful apartments. So we're going to have some really well-educated people.
The only reason I'm for the front
Residential.
runner city, the only reason I'm for it is because Danny Rourke likes it. If Danny Rourke didn't like it, I wouldn't be. I know nothing about this front runner city, the smoke and mirrors. Let's go to Canada. Let's go to Sweden. Let's do this. Let's do that.
I'm
I only believe it because
optimistically
Danny Rourke.
cautious.
Danny Rourke is the only reason I'm believing it.
You're
Yeah.
optimistically cautious about this?
Yeah, you have to. Look,
I'm hoping he's the next mayor again. Danny Rourke, I'm hoping.
I think that'd be a
Like
good
I
choice.
said.
Now it's Rita's turn.
Well, 2 years wasn't long enough for
Well, I
Danny.
was here 2 weeks ago when she was here, and I asked her point blank, and she doesn't sound like she was not going to be interested. So, but you could change your mind. Yeah, you could change.
Well, if she thought she could win it, she wouldn't change her
Tommy,
mind.
can you slide that mic to the edge of the glass so it
But
touches,
it's
touches your
also a
voice
lot.
better?
It's a lot
Right
of
there.
work.
Thank you.
I mean, it's a lot of work. You're going to be on demand, especially with the front runner city agenda. You're going to be on demand a lot as a mayor. You're the face of Lowell. You're going to go and represent us, and you're going to speak for us and sell the city. So it's going to be a very demanding job in the next
Well,
6 years.
Don't be surprised if, like, we know Vesna Noon's interest, but don't be surprised if Rathiem's not interested in it either.
Paul
You know,
Rathiem is in a dogfight. He might lose.
I don't-
Well, I'm telling you, he's
You,
in a
you know
tough
the
race.
city better than me, but I don't
I'm
think
just
so.
saying he's in a tough
In fact,
race.
when I left here last week, I was going down. That was what 8:15 in the morning. He was already knocking on doors up in that area. So
Well, that's because he knows he has to, believe me. Yeah.
Yeah, next week you guys get Eric Gitchie and Sean McDonough.
Well-
what's the views that day, Bobby?
I think Sean McDonough's a great kid. I seen him at Eric's party. He gave me a tip on my race, the school race, about some of the candidates are for charter schools. Well, see, I'm a person, I'm not afraid to tell you, I'm for them if they're like the one on Jackson Street. I'm not for them if they're like the one near the Rock Bridge, the collegiate one.
Yeah.
When you get the highest grades in the city, like the one on Jackson Street, why wouldn't you be for that? Because I'm for school choice. You know, if you have money, to me, if you have money, send your kids to St. Where's your grandson, Tom? Immaculate?
Well, they were. Oh,
All right.
John's. Yeah, John's.
But Immaculate.
Yeah.
Lowell Catholic, I'm telling you, that's fantastic. But can you
Well, the
afford it?
discipline's there. That's the
the thing.
discipline's
You
there.
know,
That's the key.
It's really not, because if your kid acts up in that type of schools, they tell you, we don't need you. That's what they can do. But the Lowell system, the Lowell public school system, you got to keep whatever you got. You can't get rid of them. That's the biggest thing, discipline. You're not, no doubt in my mind, I was part of this problem, okay? We're still having it now. We allow kids from the first grade to the second grade, and they can't even read at all. Then they go to the third grade, still can't read at all. Then we promote them to the fourth grade. forget it. That's where you're going to start to learn. And if you can't read, you're just going to be someone that disrupts a classroom. It's as simple as that.
So let me ask you,
Yeah.
as a candidate for city
School committee.
committee, sorry, do you feel that who needs to engage? Because I think this is a behavioral problem that starts at home early with children and their parents. Who do we help parents be better parents? Because I think that's an issue, and not everyone, but obviously. But who do we have in the system that could engage with those parents that are looking for a little help, or even just guidance to say, look, as a parent, you're the most important thing these kids have, and their future really depends on your engagement with your kids. You have to be more involved with, what's going on in school, their homework, getting them to school. Who do you do that? I know our teachers are working very hard. The classroom sizes are big. Is that something as a candidate, would a school committee candidate or school committee person be able to do that? Or what's your
Almost
opinion?
impossible to do anything to a parent. Almost impossible. But what we can do is in any school that has, and every school has issues, but make a separate classroom for children that are misbehaving.
Well, Bobby, I'm going to ask you, when you do get on the school committee again,
Yeah.
when we have a reckless kid, why isn't his mom reported to DSS?
That's a good question.
Chances are the mom is on public aid. Chances are it's a troubled household. Chances are the kiddo's forced to live in the hallway while she entertains her friends. And this child deserves a better environment growing up. That's my take. But I'll be asking you why that doesn't happen when you're elected.
And I think what I was just about to say plays into that. If you had a separate classroom in any school, and you can send the kids that disrupt the classroom to that classroom, but you have to put in this people that can do the job, special people. But that child shouldn't be allowed to play basketball on a travel team. He shouldn't be allowed to wrestle on any team. And you keep him in that classroom, you don't even eat with the regular kids. You want to be out there, start acting right. Because the parents aren't doing it. We need to do it for them. And that's the best way, because I'm telling you, you're not going to call parents in. They're not going to come in. We have open
Bobby,
up.
if you hit them in the wallet, they listen real quick.
Yeah, they do. If you can do that, I'm not sure we can do that.
What do you think, Cisco?
You have to get parents engaged. It's sad that.
And you say parents, it's usually one.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you can understand that if there's one, they're working a lot too. And some of these kids, feed themselves in the morning, clothe themselves in the morning, get to school themselves, and some of them can do that, but not every child has the same engine. Like, not every car has a V8, you know what I mean? So there has to be some way that you can help single parents, especially with, getting those kids in school, getting the parents involved. I think that makes a big difference in the child, especially early.
You know what would help? Just thinking about it right now, on the information on any child, you should put grandparents' phone number. Because if you can't get to the mother, call the grandparents.
I'm actually on that list, yeah.
Yeah, that would be a great thing, because the majority of grandparents, thank God we have grandparents.
Yeah.
Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have them.
Yeah.
The problems would be much more severe.
Yeah,
But,
that's a good point.
Tell
You
me
know,
this is going to go stale, so I'm not going to wait for some others to arrive. Read this one.
It sounds like the same thing they said when it came to the hotel / ball field arena / what is it going to cost the taxpayers?
Well, I'm told that we already blew $100,000 on this.
No, it's more.
So Bob,
How
two
much?
questions.
How much have we blown?
They budgeted $750,000, a line item that was put in as front runner city. I'm not sure the specific, breakdown of the money, but that was the last I heard on that. So, I mean, I don't know.
$750,000?
Yes, I don't know exactly on all the details, but what I heard that on Jerry Nutter went in and found the line item for the expense. It was $750,000. I mean, I
Amazing.
would think Tommy would come here and explain, that better than I could do.
Tom, go ahead.
I was just going to say one comment and a question to you, Bob. Comment was, like I always talk about, I have the scanner on at home. At least once a day, every day, I hear about go to this address, go to that address. A 13-year-old, a 10-year-old, out of control. His mother can't do it. Come on. I mean, it's I'm sure you've seen these situations. As a police officer.
No, Tom, I've been to those calls. As a
Yeah.
sergeant, I'm like, oh, who calls on this 5-year-old kid,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I show up, the 5-year-old kid's 200 pounds and not controllable. I mean, so those calls do come in,
And he has a hammer.
and he has a hammer, and
Yikes.
he's not someone you can communicate with easily. Now, I mean, I think a lot of that those calls have to be dealt with delicacy, but they also need a lot more information. I
Yeah.
mean, some of these, and that's the one thing now with the electronics in the system that we have, and the great job our dispatchers do. They enter as much details into these calls that come in. So when we get a call with a 13-year-old or 5-year-old out of control, 8 years is the magic number. When you get the 8-year-old kid out of control, it comes in, hey, the kid's autistic, the kid has mental issues, we've dealt with them, these are the folks that you need to contact
Sure.
if you're dealing with this child. And it's very tough because you're calling in police officers to handle crimes and handle criminals, to handle a social issue like that.
Eileen Del Rossi sent this. You want to read it, Tommy?
Great discussion this morning. Good morning, everybody. Some of the schools do have behavioral classrooms. It's just not all the schools. That's what I've been seeing, trying to say. We need equity in all our programs throughout the schools so that every school has an option to send a school student to a behavioral room. Is that what it says? Oftentimes, sellers not his best athletes are the ones that are acting up. So how do we interrogate all of that and so forth? Find balance. And I have called home to parents about student behavior, and the mom said to me, "Please, I have to work on for my student. Please do not call me anymore. I'm not sending a sorry to this. It's all jumbled doing text talk. That's why it's coming out
if
weird.
you go back to Dr. Kafawi, right, Tom?
Yeah.
We had the Cardinal O'Connor School that was an alternative school at the time. Sent a lot of, your students that disrupt things. They were all from the Sullivan School. There was about 11 of them. Now, the Cardinal O'Connor School was a great disciplined type of school, but then it really got weak.
Right.
So Kafawi goes, send those kids back to the Sullivan School
Yep.
and let them take care of their own problems. Now, he turned the Cardinal O'Connor School into a jewel. It's a preschool that you can't believe how great it is, okay? But before, it was a waste of time. Then he comes up, this is when Mrs. Durkin became the superintendent, because all we do is fire superintendents, okay? She come in and tried to destroy everything Dr. Kafawi did, like keeping fourth graders back 1 year. We did it at the Bartlett School and the Rogers School. Keep those fourth graders back so they can mature. They're doing great. I have one of my relatives.
Tommy, we have a short one for you.
That's on top of the increase coming to the citizens of the high school overage.
Yeah.
Well, why do you think, and I'll ask you a question, ask John, why do you think Rathiem's in trouble?
I just believe he is. I believe Young Ju Chow, someone that I'm very supportive of, she's behind this Lane guy. Is it that how you pronounce his last name?
I don't know, Cindy Lang.
Plus,
Sidney Lane.
plus I watch him. That guy's been everywhere.
Yeah.
Stand
Bobby, has
up-
he returned your phone calls? Rathiem?
He come-
To come on?
Yeah, he'll come on.
Has he
Yep.
been on?
Yep, Paul comes on.
Because I haven't seen, I saw the other guy, I didn't see Bob yet.
See, there's not a lot of votes in that district,
Yeah.
so it doesn't take a lot of work to go, as long as you got the help.
And like I
And-
told you, they're pushing Noon for mayor, so that's what they're trying to do, get this guy in there, because he is a Noon supporter. I know that, I've heard that.
Yeah, but
So is
right now,
Catalano.
right now, if you go
Candido.
down the line,
Candido,
we'll
yeah.
see who's the mayor.
Yeah.
For Danny Rourke. Mention all the people that are city councilors.
Say that again, Bobby, I'm sorry.
Mention all your city
all right,
councilors
Eric.
and let's see.
Eric Gitchia,
He'd vote for Danny Rourke.
Rita Mercia.
She'd vote for herself.
Okay, say if Sixto to Jesus wins.
Sixto, I think he'd be with the mayor. I just
Corey
think
Robinson.
He'd be where Eric is. Let
Yeah.
me put it that
All
way.
right, Dan Finn or Belinda Joran.
I think Dan Finn would be for Rourke.
Okay. Say Janessa Sean McDonough.
Janess would be for Rourke.
McDonough wouldn't be?
I'm not sure about him.
Okay.
He's new. He's in a tight race. He's doing a great job.
Oh, yeah.
He's running.
Kim
good.
Scott.
Kim Scott will be with Rourke. Easy.
Sakari Chow.
I say he's with Rourke.
Okay, Paul Rethiem or Cindy Lang.
That's a tough call for me. I wouldn't know.
Johnny Dakota.
I think it'd be for Danny Rourke.
That's I named them all right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Dan would be for himself, obviously.
Dan only had that seat for 2 years.
How about Wayne Janess?
Wayne Janess would be for Rourke. Wayne Janess, if you look, I've been following it as much as I can. In the past 2 months, I'm not saying the past 2 years, he's turned it up. He's
Well,
turned
you
it
know
up.
he's in a race. He's in a horse race. Of
course.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take much, like I said. When you only got 7,000 people that vote out of 75,000,
Yeah. Yep. Oh,
it's
yeah.
the same
Yep.
year after year after year. I look at that, the race I'm in, it hasn't increased. If it goes up to 10,000 or 11,000 people voted, things will change.
Yeah.
But how do you get them to vote? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, engagement is a tough thing.
Yeah.
I thought I could engage folks and say, look, I came from the projects. Honestly, in my campaign, I spent a little time thinking I could engage those folks to go out and vote. And we had 2 votes that came from Avenue A and Avenue C. And I know the whole district and the whole projects isn't in the district, but that was, I mean, disappointing because I'm thinking if I was in their shoes, I would want someone that came from where you live that could understand, the struggles that you have trying to get ahead, trying to build some generational wealth.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I mean, it's true what they say. There's gold voters, and you concentrate on your gold voters, and unfortunately, the folks that don't engage, I guess they don't want to participate, and you move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest problem. You only, like I said, 9% is like an average of people that vote.
But that's also on this year, just, from the preliminaries, could also change things up, because if you can get some folks to engage, another 5%, it makes a big difference.
If I was on the city council, I'd be yelling it. Your property taxes are going up. Because they've been going up for the past few years.
They're already.
It's, all I hear
set
is,
at 1.5%.
I know, but all I'm hearing is property taxes, how much people are paying now compared to 6 years ago. That's all I hear. I mean, I'm running for the school seat, which, $270 million budget. You think we go line item for line item? There's a lot of money that could be cut out of the school budget.
And the city budget.
Yeah. Well, I am a vote for Liam Skinner, number 1, because you only got 4 duties. Number 2, I would go with the budget, do line item for line item, and scrutinize special ed like it's never been scrutinized before. Number 3, I'm in charge of pay raises for teachers. I still think teachers are underpaid. I know paraprofessionals are underpaid. John don't like this talk, but kitchen staff's underpaid.
Bobby, what
Number
makes you
4,
think I don't
hold
like
on,
this
John, I'm
talk?
almost done, then you could say what you want. Number 4, it's policy. I'd go after firing Aramark that feeds our children. We have a lot of schools that are equipped to cook, and I think we could go back to that. That'd be the first thing. Number 2 policy I'd write is stop sending kids forward when they can't read. That's just a couple, but go ahead, John.
I want teachers paid competitively. What is it? A teacher that's been teaching for 10 years in Nashua, what's she making a year? What's her bennies? Oh, we don't look at Nashua. Why? More of Lowellians are moving to Nashua than people moving to Lowell. I guarantee you that.
Yeah,
More
why they,
Lowellians are moving to Cow Hampshire. Cow Hampshire's the place that they're going to. How much does a teacher in Wellesley make? How much does we should look at Providence, Rhode Island. What are they making in Providence, Rhode Island? It's like cities to Lowell. What are we paying our teachers? And that will attract a better flow of people. And as you find out, and the same thing with the cops, the firemen, DPW. Why can't DPW fix the water leaks? Why do they have to hire a professional company from New Hampshire to come down and fix our water leaks?
why are people moving to New Hampshire?
It's where you're going to go. Massachusetts is corrupt.
Okay, but that's why people are leaving.
It's corrupt. You're not going to fix it. Give us, it's too bad. We're putting the tax up. And it's sad. More taxes.
You think people in Nashua and they're happy with their property taxes?
Oh, yeah, because they don't pay any income tax, Bob. They don't pay any sales
That's right.
tax.
So they do pay a high property tax, correct?
Not competitively with, when you add up all the taxes you pay in Massachusetts, especially your income tax, it's cheaper to live in New Hampshire.
You have to
Put
run.
that in your pipe and smoke it.
Well, I feel Massachusetts, the good things to me is the hospitals that we have. We're very lucky to be in this state when it comes to medical things. And there's all kinds of benefits here.
Well, there are some doctors going over the border because the pay's better, the staff's better, and the clientele is better.
So you think New Hampshire has better hospitals than Massachusetts?
They are getting improved hospitals.
Yeah.
Dartmouth,
long way off.
Hitchcock Hospital has 2 helicopters flying people in from all over New England for heart surgery.
That must be new, because I had a friend of mine who almost died going there. And he ended up in Mass Journal, and he's a better man today.
Well, they're not Mass General yet, but I'm telling you, Tommy, it's getting there.
Yeah,
It's getting there.
yeah. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, and we want to see everybody.
I mean, it goes back to what residency. I want more of those jobs to be Lowell hires. I want Llewellyans to work here in Lowell, and I want some residency requirement. You don't have to make that your whole career resident requirement, but there has to be some years that you have to live in the city. I mean, you want to keep that money in the city. That's the only way you're going to have a thriving community, and that's the only way you're going to support these young businesses, new businesses in the city. They're all leaving. Look at the pharmacy over at the senior center. People are like, oh, now we got better parking because there's no pharmacy. And I'm like, is that the right answer? That was a business that was paying taxes and providing the service. Maybe
That was a corporate decision. Had nothing to do with Llewellyn's. We're going to go to break. We'll be back.
All right, thank you. Let me fix my glasses.
Good morning. Welcome to the City Life Show, and thanks for listening in on the Dawn Patrol. I just have a quick thing before I pass it to Rodney Elliott, candidate for the state Senate seat. I have to go back at John McDonough on just one thing. When I mentioned
Oh, I love this part of the
when
show.
I mention teachers are underpaid, I look at tutors. Now, tutors have over 32 years' experience. When they come into a school building to help teach kids how to read, just a year ago, they were only getting paid $30 an hour. Now we pay them $40. But then I see people all over the place like myself offering a job to watch a pothole for $55 an hour. So to me, teachers are still underpaid. That's all I'm saying. But now we'll get back to Rodney running for state senate. Rodney, I don't know how much money you got in the bank, but money's a big part of the race. There's no doubt in my mind. And I hope my sister Ronnie from Project Compass, she'll know because I'll be telling her today I had you on the show. Well, it's true. You need money. You know, some people have over 100,000 anyways, I would think, for the Senate race. You probably need that. But I don't want to talk about money, Rodney. Just talk about what you're going to bring to that seat. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, good morning. Nice to see you. You look good, Bobby.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Appreciate it.
Good morning, John. Morning,
Good
Tom.
morning, Senator.
Morning. Well,
Good morning.
Let's not jinx us,
Well,
please.
that's, you got my vote, you got my
Thank you. I
support.
appreciate that. But I did declare that I'm running for the state senate, having spent 24 years on the Lowell City Council and a term as mayor, and the last 3 years down at the state legislature. You know, I started out as a legislative assistant, believe it or not, first as an intern, and then in 1982, I was hired to work for then State Senator Phil Shea. I was a legislative assistant and, learned the ropes down at the State House. But, since that time, I've had a full-time job. I worked for 42 years in the state government, the federal government, worked in a local government. I feel that, this experience, my knowledge of government and how it works, and then again, just the last serving down at the legislature and the House, I'm ready to do this job. I'm ready to, get some big shoes to fill. Senator Kennedy, he did a lot of, he brought a lot to this district, and often it wasn't in the newspaper, it wasn't on an article or a blog or a website. But I talk to him regularly. Maybe let's say once a week, or at least once every 2 weeks. We had conversations about bills, about legislation, about the Merrimack River. I mean, you name it. And he gave good guidance. I appreciate it. You think you know a lot about government, but until you're down there. So I hit the boots. I'll be hitting the boots, the ground running, as they say. And I'm ready to do this job. There's a long legacy of strong leadership, effective leadership, and I believe that's what this district needs. I feel I'm capable, I'm ready, and there's no learning curve. It's going to be day one. Looking at Senator Kennedy bills, look at what the needs of the districts are, and I know what they are. I know the city. I'm going to take my message out to Dracut and Tingsboro and Pepperell and Dunstable. And by the way, I ran for this seat when Dracut was not in it in 2018. So I'm not going into this blind by any
I'm gonna
stretch.
jump back into the first hour, and I'm gonna have Mr. Bomil read these, and I got a gigantic one when you're done with these, Tom.
All right, still Councilor Leahy picture, good grief.
Yeah, that's when the city council, the official picture just has
Oh, okay.
John
I
Leahy's
hear
still
that a lot of older people move back to Mass because of the healthcare system. New Hampshire is good. The line of cars coming to Mass to work in the morning is insane. As you said, there should be some sort of residency requirement. Then you would see how good New Hampshire really is.
And we got this gigantic one from Jeannie Balkus.
Oh, boy. Hi, everyone. Representative Elliott. Yesterday, someone texted in laminating that there are state funerals for police and firefighters killed in line of duty. Why not teachers? I did some study and found the bill, House 2901, Basically, the bill seeks to improve the current law and provide a more comprehensive line due to death to include all public employees. It's one-time payment of $300,000 to the family of a deceased public employee who dies while performing their job as a result of an incident, accident, or an act of violence. I hope this includes elected officials. Sir, what is your position on the bill?
I'm happy to go look at 2901.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Makes sense. Anyone, acts of violence, particularly, they seem to be more frequent than not just for police officers or firefighters or first responders.
I mean, I being a police officer, and we get paid well, so most of the police officers already have coverage, and the ones that don't, something, you have to take some responsibility for your family as a police officer. So I know a lot of the officers out there, the first thing they do, just because if you have a loved one, you got to make sure that they're all set. So a lot of the officers do have coverage, and if they're in a situation where they die, they usually have. And the unions are now providing. One of the things I did was I set in motion was to have coverage for the officers, the patrolmen. So there is insurance on death insurance if they have a death any death. They're covered whether they're on duty or not. So
I'll hit that issue real quick, Tom, if you don't mind. I'll
Sure.
pass it to you in a second. Just watch out when you get life insurance. Read the fine print, because I did the same thing when I was a prison guard. I took life insurance policies out of myself and my wife. But as you get older, the price goes up. And if you didn't read the fine print, you're going to be real sorry, because a lot of insurance companies are ridiculous.
But I'm happy to go look at that bill. John left. I was going to have him bring it
Yeah.
up to describe it a little bit more so I can understand him. But I do think it makes sense that we're going to provide coverage for families. If they're in public service, then we need to provide that
So
support.
Rodney brought up when he worked for Phil Shea back in '82, and a lot of this district, you're probably in, it was part of his district when he was a senator, right?
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
only
Drake
piece
it
that
was.
might be missing would be Shirley.
Yeah, and I remember back in '82 or '83, going down to Boston, meeting with you. There was a water line they wanted to bring out on Broadway Road.
That's
Shea
right.
did all the work, but guess who get all the credit? Atkins, when they ran for Congress.
Yeah,
'cause all
right.
those
Yeah,
people-
no, good point. I do
But
remember that.
I remember
yeah.
that. You worked hard for Phil, and Phil was, and Drake. It feels it's part of the district again. We had Feingold, a great guy,
Great
but
guy.
he cared more about down at other Andover, North Andover. Drake was basically forgotten, but now we had Kennedy and you, or whoever wins.
Yeah.
And it's good for Drake, I think.
Yeah,
too,
I
for
think
the
it's a
district.
natural, just given the history or the issues. Drake and Lowell. I mean, Lowell was annexed or vice versa
Right.
from Drake at one point in time. So it does feel like it's a better fit. Senator Feingold, that district, it stretched from Andover, I think, all the way to maybe even further. But
Yeah.
I think, and I know I know Drake. Spent a lot of time in Drake. My grandmother spent her entire life in Drake and my mom. So, there's still a lot of folks that I know from Drake when I work for the state
So
legislature.
I recently was at the State House for an award that they put me up, and I was excited, and first time there, and what a beautiful building. But one of the things I took notice was Rodney, when he was running around, all the folks that stopped you and said hi and you shook hands. And to me, that says a lot. If I'm looking at a politician, I know that you got to have those connections. You just got to be able to work with people and know people, and that takes years to build that on connection. So I'm going to support you on. Hopefully, you go in there, and especially the city where we're going, we're going to need good, strong people on the State House, and I'm looking forward, hopefully, to show up at a party after, a winning party for you. So good luck. I'm
One thing
really
about Rodney's
excited.
everywhere. Everywhere.
I was just going to say, I know Rodney's got a twin. That's why he's everywhere.
Yeah,
But,
I think a big part of the job is, and I think you both hit on, you have to show up. That's important, and it's not just for ribbon cuttings. It's it's for events, it's for meetings. Having a presence is one thing, but I think you really raise a very good point, which I feel this is a strength that I can bring. In order to get things accomplished at the State House, you need to have relationships. You also need to have a fundamental understanding of state government. I worked in state government. It's not always about passing bills. It's about working with agencies and getting sign-off and getting approvals when you're working. I'm working on you wouldn't think that it's complex, but it's an Article 97 for a $60 million project in Centerville. It's a sewer separation, so we need to get permission from the state. And for some reason, Article 97s are very complicated, but that's okay. We're going to get it across the finish line because it's going to remove 65 gallons of water that goes into the treatment center. So it's it's about relationships, and in order to establish relationships, it's like you have two constituencies. You have to be in Boston and develop relationships, and then you can't forget your constituents. And I have to say, I feel that is probably as important than anything else.
What
Constituent-
committees are you on at the State House? What?
Yeah, so this term, last term I was on Veterans Affairs.
I'm a veteran. I like that.
Yeah, we get assigned essentially 4 committees. So I was on State Administration, 2 years ago. This year, I've been appointed to the Committee on Ways and Means, and I'm
That's a
very,
big one.
That's
I'm
the
very
money.
pleased.
That's the money. That's what
a
we
good one.
need.
Money. We can talk a lot about state finances at some point as well, but Ways and Means, economic development and emerging technologies, public service, public safety, and homeland security.
You chair any of those, Rodney?
I
You
don't
any of those?
chair any.
No, I'd like
No,
to.
you have to, it takes a while to get
Really?
I-
chair.
You-
Well, there's
you heard-
160 members, right? So
Yeah. Now, have you talked or not talked? If you the names are out there. Have you heard of are you hearing the same names everybody else is hearing? As far as running for the seat, are you hearing the same names? Vanna Howard, Dave Dangle.
Yeah.
What's the former council's name that ran the last time? Not the last time you ran when you
Oh,
ran.
John Drinkwater?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're hearing those names, yeah.
I think I probably hear the same rumors
Yeah.
you do,
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's a democratic process, and Bob mentioned earlier, you need. One of the worst parts of this job, I have to say, is raising money. I don't think anybody likes to do it, but I've done.
I like money. I like raising money. Maybe I'll have to do something.
Well, I
for
just
you.
don't. It's for me. It's difficult to ask people. I want to do the work. I want to do constituent stuff. I want to, I want to show up and support people. But I think that's an important. It is important if you want to win elections, and we're putting together some more fundraisers. I did it, last year, and I think, financially, I'm in a pretty good position to do it. But I also think it's, you got to tell people, what are you going to do? And we'll do that in the next several months.
I'm going to change up just a little bit, Rodney.
Sure.
I always love running for the schools, and all I have to do is advocate for children and teachers. That was my job. That was very simple. But your job, I'm glad you mentioned Centerville, how you're trying to raise money for that. But I think that's the most important part of being a state senator, because Eileen Donahue at Kennedy, Eileen especially could really get money out of Boston, especially for the schools. And I think to win, you got to not just talk about Lowell. You got about, 6 or 7 different towns that you're going to represent. But the key to me, to anything to do with the Senate, is how can you bring money to every city, not just Lowell?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think that's, there's 40 senators, there's 160 representatives. Everybody's fighting for their district, and that's important. I think Senator Kennedy, as I mentioned, we got a lot of accolades, and rightfully so, when we were faced with, the first deficit as a result of when we bid the high school project. He filed a bill on the Senate side, I filed a bill on the House side, but all the credit goes to Senator Kennedy, because he went to House Ways and Means and used some of the fair share money, and I think that's an important, that fair share, that that surtax on millionaires, is important as we move forward. 50% goes to public transportation, 50% goes to education, Student Opportunity Act. You talk about funding education. It is important that we fund education, and taxpayers, local taxpayers, simply cannot afford it. We look at the towns, and there are bills at the legislature that look at changing the formula for your towns because it just doesn't seem to be working. A great burden is being placed on property tax owners. This year we want understanding and hearing this. This is across the state. Hearing that the burden, that there are layoffs, that the education funding is in a formula doesn't, address the needs in the towns. We did it on a per pupil basis, and there were significant increases to the towns. And it wasn't at the expense of the cities, but the towns did see a significant increase. That's not the answer, but it was a solution to get additional funding. It was $150 a student. I believe last year it was $75. So that's significant. But those are the things you need to know. It comes with experience, how to address, spending the time on the local government. You have that understanding of budgets and issues and where can the state step in. And I think that was the benefit of being on Ways and Means, knowing where the money is, monitoring the benchmarks. Where are we financially? What can we afford? And where do we where do we need help? This year is going to be, and I'm rambling here, I'll stop. This year has been a little bit more challenging when we see federal cuts. How do we continue to maintain services for the people of Massachusetts? And, the state's pretty healthy financially. We have a $9 billion stabilization. Some of that's required by Prop 2.5 law. But we're going to have to fill some gaps when we see cuts to the federal government.
So, Ronnie, can you tell me,
wait a minute.
George
Whoa,
Anthes'
whoa,
$4
whoa, whoa,
million
whoa.
tax?
Whoa.
The producer wants to say.
First of all, I gotta yell at you guys. Microphone, 4 inches from your mouth, okay?
All right.
Microphones are not magic. If you put it across the room, it can't hear you.
So
Okay,
they didn't
so
hear
I'm-
anything I said?
We heard everything, but
Oh,
we
okay.
hear you much better now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do these announcements. Sakari Chow's having a party. He's gonna, Lowell City Council fundraiser. This is this Thursday, October 23rd, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Long Meadow Golf Club up in Belvedere, 165 Havilah Street. Donations start at $20 and go up. There's a QR code if you want to send a donation to Sakari. And be there or be square. Next announcement is for Danielle McFadden. She's having a party. Blow it up a little bit here. Chris and Elizabeth Dick invite you to share a cup of coffee and caffeinate Danielle's campaign. Friday, October 24th at the Coffee Mill Emporium down in downtown, lovely downtown Lowell, 23 Palmer Street. A neighborhood, that's your neighborhood meetings for the month, but half the month's gone by, so it is what it is. I've got to shrink this down a little bit. Johnny Dakota's having a party. I want to shrink down a little bit. There we go. Okay. Join us for a campaign drive to support John Dakota. It's going to be October 29th at the Mount Pleasant Mount Pleasant Golf Club, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And his email address is on the bottom there. This breakfast at the Tewksbury Senior Center is a fantastic breakfast coming up October 26th. You got to go hungry. They have the best eggs out there, delicious time, and there's plenty of parking behind the senior center. It looks like there's not a lot of parking. There's a ton of parking behind the building. And go through the lunches real quick today. Today's the 21st. So if you go to the Chelmsford Senior Center today, you're going to have baked fish, rice, broccoli, and gelatin. And if you go out to the Drake Senior Center, you're going to have garlic, lemon, butter, potluck, brown. I don't know what they have in there, but it is what it is. In Lowell's proud to have lunch 7 days a week. They also have breakfast 7 days a week. Pretty cool. But today you're going to have stir-fried beef over at the Lowell Senior Center. And at the Tewksbury Senior Center, we're going to have I never heard of
Pollock. That's
Pollock?
fish. That's
Pollock
fish.
garlic?
That's how you say it, Pollock on ice. It's fish.
Oh, pollock.
Pollock. There we go.
Pollock.
Yeah.
I thought it was Pollock. Okay, good. That's the end of them.
I'll be in trouble with
Back
that.
to you guys. Thanks for your
That's all right.
Johnny, have you started making your tour yet with Evelyn?
Yes, we have.
How's that going? They're making a tour.
I wouldn't go
of the
back
senior
to. I wouldn't go back to Chelmsford.
Oh yeah, they say
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
They're mistaken.
Really?
Oh, really?
Well, I know
They're
somebody
mistaken.
Wow. Wow.
Well, Lowell's not that good.
No, Chelmsford was
Say
lousy.
Johnson. I know a
That's
lady
why
that
he's-
goes
We're going to drink
Lowell-
it.
Lowell's
Lowell's the
really
same way.
This
We're
lady
going
I
to
know
drink it
loves
next week. So back to you guys.
So Rodney, have you formed your team yet?
The team's formed. We're out collecting signatures. Yesterday, papers were made available. The Senate President just announced the date, which John mentioned earlier. February 3rd is the primary. The 25th of January, I believe, is mail-in ballot deadline. So it's a special. It's going to go quick. So the team is formed, and we've I need a consultant for this. In my opinion, this is very different. So we've hired a consultant, and I get people that can do vote builder and do mailings, and we're gonna. I've been on the phone all weekend, particularly reaching out to folks in the town, and Tommy knows. And we
And
just spent.
my word's my word. I
Yeah,
tell
no,
you.
we just been,
On a side note here, Tommy, you want to read these quick?
Respectfully, how does government work? Look at the mess we are in. And why did you vote against the audit that 70% voted for? It must be for Rodney. Thank you, Cisco. Self-responsibility regardless of your public position.
Back to you guys.
You're
Thanks.
welcome.
Yeah, no, I didn't vote against the audit. If you see my performance in the city council, I believe in transparency, leadership, the speaker, and they continue to work with the auditor. We voted to give her the ability to select an independent audit. So I know the Attorney General, the Attorney General and both sides of the leadership are trying to, make sure that we can provide information. Things like, what committees and who has appointed committees. I don't know if there's any way to really, let people know why the speaker makes these decisions, but I do believe in full transparency.
And you always have.
I
You
always
were a
have.
counselor. You were,
When I was a counselor,
were you
think it
considered
was-
the watchdog? You were Hoey, was considered
yeah,
the watchdog.
I was myself and Councilor Howe, but I actually had representative. I think she was representative at the time, DeZoglio. I had filed a motion that there be no more NDAs, non-disclosure agreements in the city of Lowell, and that passed. That's part of the ordinance, and she actually came to the city hall and spoke on it. So in the city of Lowell, there's no more NDAs. So
Cool.
I hope that reflects my commitment to transparency.
So that means if someone sued the city, we could find out more about it, correct?
Right. No more agreements that there's a settlement with taxpayer money, and people, it's your money.
Yeah, it's right.
You
I
should be
fully
entitled
know.
to find out, why and what that settlement's about, and shouldn't be non-disclosure.
I could guess at what towns you represent, but which towns do you represent, if you win the seat?
So the first the first senatorial district, Middlesex, is it's Lowell, it's Dracut, it's Tingsboro, Pepperell, and Dunstable.
Dunstable. Now, we were talking about on the mayor, Danny, coming back, and you were mayor once. She's in the city. Do you think 2 terms give you enough to do what you want to do as a mayor, or would you advocate for more long-term, for opportunity for a counselor?
Sure. So
In your opinion, this is an opinion.
yeah, I think historically it's been 2 things. There are some mayors that have served consecutively. When I was the mayor, I have to say it's an exhausting job,
Right,
but
exactly.
it's an exhausting job that you love to do. I really loved to be the mayor. It was one of the greatest experiences to go out and represent the city. I greeted presidents and prime ministers from other countries, and you serve as the chair of the school committee, so you get to go to all the schools and all of their performances, and those are the things that you see that I really did enjoy. All the remarkable things that the schools does, and the kids do, and the teachers, quite frankly. So it also can be seen in large part as people take a turn, right, if you will, and not so much you're doing a good job. Let's keep it that way. I tried to be the mayor after I did the first term, first 2 years, and it didn't work out. People want to give somebody else an opportunity, right? So there's no hard and fast rule. I'm trying to think who would have been consecutive. I know Eileen Donahue did two
Dick
terms
Howard
in
did
a
two
row.
terms. Dick Howard did 3 terms, but not 2 in a row.
2 in a row, yeah.
And Bud Caulfield did 2, not 2
Yep,
in a row.
Bud Caulfield did 2, but not in a row. So it's it's an honor, and everyone wants to do it. So I can understand why Mayor Rourke wants to do it again, because you get an opportunity to to really be part of. Again, I think it's the school side that's of interest. That was a wonderful experience, and you are chair of the city council, and you get to represent the city at so many events, and people appreciate the mayor, and it was a tremendous honor.
George Anthes was a
There's
big
not really
advocate.
clear answer to your question.
No.
Yeah.
Do they got your picture up there?
Yeah, it's in
Yeah,
there.
I'm gonna have to look for it.
George Anthes was a big one, but you try to
Thank
it was
you.
his turn, or it's his. You may be sitting there. It's Rodney's turn to be here next time. Right?
But Rodney, you had to do a few terms before you became
Oh
mayor.
yeah, I had to do a lot of terms before I
Yeah.
get there.
That's right.
It's not a popularity contest, but councils change, people change, you develop relationships, and I don't think there's any, there's no real recipe to become the mayor. I think sometimes it might be luck, right?
Rodney, let's pull the curtain up on, you're now in state senate. What will Lowell see coming up? The curtains came up, Rodney's now our senator. What are we getting out of you?
The curtain's coming up, and what do you?
You're elected,
Yeah.
you're now our state senator. What beams of sunshine are you gonna put out there?
Well, I mean, the first thing, and I've already looked at Senator Kennedy's bills. I think it's important to see what legislation he was working on. Geez, I'm going to reveal my whole strategy before I even get my papers
Tell me
in.
what you
know
want.
what? When the curtain comes up, more to come on that, John.
Okay.
Look, you're gonna get somebody that is going to go down there and try to fill some big shoes that Senator Kennedy had, and they're big shoes, believe me. I was at a neighborhood meeting last night, and people asking about the Rourke Bridge. We're going to keep an eye on the Rourke Bridge. We're going to keep an eye on funding, and to ensure that project keeps on track. We're going to go to the towns. We talked earlier about funding. Funding is huge, and as we go through this next term, we're going to have to keep a close eye on state finances. But you're going to get somebody that goes down there that understands the process, and when action needs to be taken, establish those relationships, as I have done in the House. So it's. Well, I don't want to reiterate everything I said, but is there a particular project or item that we're going to focus on? They change, and more to come. More to come in the upcoming months.
And each community has different wants and needs. Dracut compared to Dunstable, Dunstable compared to Tingsboro.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, but yeah, it's
Here's a
gonna-
good example,
it's gonna-
and I didn't get to it before. Senator Kennedy was able to get $40 million for the Lowell High School, right, way back when. And what I don't think a lot of folks know is he also got $6 million for the Tingsboro school that was bid at the same time during COVID, that had that significant cost increase. So
He also did something for the Greater Lowell Technical High School, too.
$2.5 million for a new
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the VOC, they need additional funding. Look, those are the funding needs that are necessary. Here's a good example that really wasn't, part of, let's say, the legislative process, but girls flag football, and this is kind of a side, but, you know, as a state representative, folks came to me, young ladies, they want to expand flag football, to have opportunities for girls across this state, equal to boys. This football, this is flag football. So I went to work, and we were working with the New England Patriots and the Massachusetts MIAA, Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, to see if we could expand that sport in every school across the Commonwealth. The first year we started, there was 8 teams. The second year, 23 teams. Last year, 55 teams. And these are up. It doesn't cost much, certainly for equipment, but you know, these are the efforts that I put forward to work with Maya, a quasi-state agency, if that, to expand, you know, opportunities for young ladies. And it's the numbers of young ladies that come out to play. You know, they have tryouts at the first tryout at the Greater Lowell Vogue. 87 young ladies came out, essentially for 12 to 20 spots. So,
You know, another thing I thought you should take a lot of credit for was fighting the opiate epidemic years back. You sued some company. I heard some money come through. Do you want to speak about that a
yeah,
little
two
bit?
things. Yeah, very good point. When I was the mayor, speaking of being the mayor, we started the opioid abuse task force. That continued, you know, through Councilor Belanger and Councilor Mercier for a long, long time. District Attorney Marion Ryan also, she also has a task force as well. And at that time, it was just getting all of the, you know, the stakeholders together to say, I mean, that was at a point in time where opioid deaths there was no Narcan, and the numbers were just staggering. It was sort of right at the cusp of when doctors were prescribing all of these painkillers. But then, you know, secondly, you know, a number of years later, I filed a motion to join that class action suit to sue Big Pharma. And, you know, the city joined that class action suit, and we had, was it $2 million that came into the city? But it was a lot of money. So, you know, those are two big initiatives that, thank you, Bobby, I appreciate that. You know, that important. And those are the things, when John asked me what's going to happen when the curtain goes up, when there are issues on the state, we're not going to sit back and wait. We're going to file legislation. We're going to co-sign legislation. And, you know, there's one thing I testify in my bills. You know, big, small, or indifferent, or any other bills. I go to all of my committee meetings. I haven't missed a vote in the House of Representatives, and that's what you're going to get. That's what you know, showing up, voting, testifying, advocating, and
What I would like to see soon is if you're riding on an electric anything, electric skateboard, electric bike, you got to have a helmet, or the vehicle can be confiscated. I'd like to see a law passed in Massachusetts, because there's some poor kiddo out there just going to be showing off, going to turn into a vegetable because he or she hits their head on a curbstone.
yeah, I was at the Lower Highlands Neighborhood Association last night.
Yeah.
Cisco Maldonado was there. And we had Captain Damaris there and Sergeant Florence, and that issue came up. So the city is looking at, you know, what the
It
law.
should be a state law.
What is the law, particularly regulating these bikes or scooters or electric vehicles? You know, they're dangerous, and so Captain Damaris said that the city is looking at, you know, certain areas in downtown, and what are the ordinance and what are the requirements. They're doing their best to clamp down on writing citations, or, you know, pulling these kids over if they're driving into oncoming traffic, doing their wheelies.
I just saw it Saturday downtown. It's unbelievable.
It's very dangerous, and they come out of nowhere and they crisscross the street, and I don't disagree. Helmets are one thing, but I do think they need to be regulated. In Boston, you know, they're in the bike lanes and they're flying, but there's an example of an area that
It's the
just
no
comes out of
helmet.
nowhere.
It's the no helmet. It's the poor little kiddo that like myself, trying to show off. I just got my electric skateboard that's going to fall down and crack their head wide open and become a vegetable. It's a preventable problem if they gotta have a helmet. I don't care if boys do stupid things. I did stupid things. Rodney, I'm sure you were brilliant when you were a teenager.
Absolutely.
But a lot of us
Absolutely
did some
not.
real stupid things.
Yeah, of course.
It's a big problem.
They gotta wear a
Head
helmet or the
injuries.
cop can just, give me that bike.
Yeah, you'd have to go to a place like I just went to, Spalding, and see the kids that have head injuries like you're
You
talking
know,
about.
what's kind of
It's
amazing
not
is that
good.
these things are not, they're not cheap, right? These bikes.
Right.
I don't
Even the
care.
low-end scooters, I think they're like at least 500. I see them at,
They
Sam's.
gotta buy a DOT helmet, a Department of Transportation helmet. Putting on one of these Army helmets they bought at Target, no. You gotta wear a DOT helmet.
Sure. Yeah, no, I don't disagree. If
It's gotta be a state law.
You know, some of these, and I know they're bicycles, but they're vehicles that are, you know, exceeding any particular pace a bike could go. So, you know, that's a good point. I'm going to make a note to look to see if there are any bills that have been filed relative. I'm almost there's 6,000 bills down at the legislature. I'm going to make sure that something is filed on that.
Have you heard anything about funding for more trade schools? Is that a talk at all in the state?
Trade schools, I think in particular, it's a lottery issue that I want to say that the Voc was taking that up Monday night. Yes, there is discussion because, you know, there's such a waiting list and time for, you know, individuals that want to go to trade schools. So funding is always an issue. It really is expanding campuses, right? Because most of these trade schools they're full. They're full, as I mentioned, with long waiting lists. So, you know, what that solution is, you know, part of the solution is providing, expanding on not so much the vocational campuses, but to those high schools that have space within those, you know, certain communities. I know School Committeeman Bahu was trying to expand vocational education at Lowell High School. I don't know.
Yeah, that's almost impossible.
Yeah. No, I know it's impossible, but it's a solution. It's an issue that needs a solution.
Yeah. Because I know, like Greater Lowell, they have an after dark program. At least that's for children to go there and get a trade at nighttime. So,
Right. I mean, even
but it's
that-
all about money.
I mean, even the 75 acres, I believe, out at the Voc. I mean, there's, I don't know what room there is for expansion, but it's still then you need the infrastructure, right? You need to be able to get the buses and vehicles in and out. So it's, of course, like everything, it's always complicated.
You know what you might look into? I'm not sure if it would work, but if you look like at the Minuteman trade school out there in Lexington, that might not be full. Some of those could be half empty. We could bus some of the kids there, but I think it's important to get.
Rodney, we're gonna back up
trade
to
school.
the Diana DiZoglio audit. What's going on with that down there? There's some state reps are for it, some state reps are against it. I've enjoyed a conversation with several state reps about it, and it's all about the control that the speaker has. The speaker has, off the record, threatened to pull the money from the Rourke Bridge. So, I'm not asking you to back that up, but that's the kind of power that this guy has. Why won't the state legislature let Diana DiZoglio audit the books? In your opinion?
Can we go back to that? What do you mean the speaker's threatened to pull the money?
One state rep told me that's how he keeps people in line.
Well, I don't know what state rep mentioned that to you, but there's, you know, to me, there's no truth to that. For this reason, the money for the Rourke Bridge was ARPA money, right? It came in, Congresswoman Trahan and, you know, state money. At the time, Governor Baker designated that money. There was actually a board of directors for the Mass Department of Transportation that has to approve every project. And that funding is in place. Mass Department, the Board of Directors voted to make that part of the 10-year plan. I've been assured by the Governor, by the Secretary of Administration and Finance, project staff, that money is in place. Nobody can touch it. It's $273 million construction project. There's $30 million in contingency. That money is secure. So there's.
Moving on to
Let
Diana.
me let me dispel that because there's no truth to it.
Moving on to Diana Zazzaglio. Why can't she audit the books?
She can audit the books. By the way, there's an audit. You can look on the website. There's an audit every single year. It's
which
publicly
website?
it's publicly posted.
Which website?
Would be the House of Representatives website. I think it goes back 5 years, maybe 6 years.
And what's she going to do different? That she's not being allowed to do what the voters wanted her to do.
I don't know. It's independent. It's an independent auditor, just like there's an independent auditor for the city of the state. What the House of Representatives did, we said, okay, why don't you pick the auditor that you want to do? Let's allow the auditor to do that. In the past, it was a business manager. They solicit, I think three individuals, and I believe that she did pick that auditor to do that independent audit.
Understood. Well, I know that Drakeit is now, according to the newspaper, Lowell Sun, is doing a forensic audit. And in my mind, the forensic audit in Drakeit, they're looking for criminal behavior. And I thought the audit that Diana DiZoglio was looking for was going to be closer to a forensic audit than what we're seeing.
I don't know what you're asking here.
Okay, we'll turn the page.
Cisco.
But Drakeit has to go, that's going to be at the town, brought up at the
Looking at the mic, Tom.
town meeting, and I think it's in 2 weeks, the Drakeit town meeting. They're trying to get a forensic, am I saying the word right? Forensic audit of.
Yeah,
this.
forensic, they're looking to get
Forensic.
somebody arrested.
Forensic,
Yeah.
yeah.
Forensic, that's what,
So-
they're looking to find criminal wrongdoing
So,
in Drakeit.
yeah.
And there
I
are.
told you
ru-
at the beginning, I told John off that there's already talk about a recall out there with some of the officials, and it's getting nasty on
Yeah.
Drakeit. You're coming to Drakeit at a good time.
Cisco.
So look, let me. You want to close the page? As I mentioned earlier, I believe it. The voters did vote for it. I don't disagree. I believe that the auditor has a central function in state government to look at fraud, waste, and abuse. I don't believe there's any fraud, waste, and abuse. There isn't. I just want folks to know there is an audit. We do not. It's required by the state law that all funding is including on the state level. Every year there has to be an independent audit. So I support it, as I mentioned earlier. In my capacity as a city councilor, we approved that ordinance, and leadership is working with the auditor, and I know there is some frustration there, and I hope they can come to some resolution because tax people vote for it. It's taxpayer money, so.
In most public agencies, I mean, you have in the Housing Authority, in Lowell, Drakeit, we have an independent audit of our Housing Authority.
Right.
We have one at the LRTA.
Right.
I'm sure it's the same in Lowell.
Right.
It's an independent firm that comes in and.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you got to keep eyes on it. I mean, that's what I did in Lowell City Council for 24 years, right? So, watch the taxpayer money. We really are stewards of the taxpayer money, and I haven't changed.
I don't want to get into budgets of the school committee because there was some problems when Dr. Kafawi was around, but to me, any $270 million budget, you could find something in it. You could find something in it that's not going well. Cisco, you have anything to say to?
Hey, you've been quiet.
No, it's
No,
just
no.
his
Cisco
turn.
kid.
No, I'm listening, and I had it on. Rodney answered the question in regards to the mayor, being a former mayor, on the $1 billion tax. That where's that? Wasn't that money to be used for educational for the schools and stuff like that? How that's fairly new. So I mean, how is that working out? And And is that going to help on the schools, especially where we had issues with the budget of the school this last budget?
I follow that myself. That 1 billion, what happened is instead of it being divided equally between the schools and the state infrastructure, they ended up giving about 700 million, I'm sorry, to infrastructure and only 300 million toward the schools. I believe that's what happened. The governor did that.
So Rodney, those folks who want to help you, what's the best way that they can be in touch with your campaign?
They can call me on my cell phone, 978-835-7426. I have a website. They can email me. They can Facebook me, message me, Facebook me.
He's not a hard guy to get a hold of.
I'm not a high guy. You can call. I still have a home number. I still have a landline, believe it or not. I'm
Because how many signatures,
pretty
you can't know
accessible.
everything, but how many signatures do you need to get on the ballot? Do you need one from every town?
300. No, there's no.
300
I think
total?
it's unlike congressional. I think in congressional races, and I'm not 100% certain you need, and I could be wrong, so I shouldn't say that. You just need 300 signatures.
So you can
300
get them all
certified
from your
signatures.
neighborhood if you want to.
You can get them all in your neighborhood if you wanted to, yeah. But we'll be going out to different sections. and-
You're going to need 500 if I was.
Yeah, you wanna make sure-
If I was working for you, we're going to get 500.
Yeah, no,
So
we'll get-
We're going to get those folks to sign.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point because some people don't know whether they're registered. If they haven't voted in a couple of elections, you get removed from the voting list. So we're out there, and that's why we're starting early to make sure they're certified. And then they got to go to the Secretary of State's office. So there's
And filing date is like Christmas Eve, I think. Is that
Yeah,
from
the
papers?
23rd.
That's right.
Yeah.
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 And this is I was thinking, this is gonna set up a whole domino effect. Let's just say it's you and Howard, and one of yous win. There'll be
Sure.
a special for that seat, right? For your
I
seat.
don't believe there will. I'm not 100%
Because it'll be too
certain
late. It'll be like
because
the
it'll be too close
Yeah,
to the
that's
next
true.
election.
Yeah. But you talk about.
I believe when Tom Golden and Eileen, I
Yeah.
think they both took. I want to say it was May 1st.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
when
right,
they
it wasn't a
resigned.
special. Yeah, you
And there
weren't a
weren't
special.
specials for
Yeah,
either one of them.
yeah.
A, it's expensive, and B, logistically, there's not enough time.
Right.
When's the term end for the Ed's seat? Is it this next year?
It would be December 31st
Oh,
of
next
20.
year.
So you'll be running
Six,
right into another campaign, right? If
Right.
In other words, you win, you've
Yeah,
be
after-
running
yeah,
again, get
again.
signatures
Right.
again.
If you win, I think it's papers will be due in June or something.
I think
along those
they already
lines.
said the primary September 1st next year. I think I read that. Yeah.
Wow, you get a lot of work. I'm looking forward to see what happens.
He's not afraid to do it either. I've seen him campaign.
Well,
He's-
I'm retired, so I'm probably.
Work is work,
We'll
that's
talk
what we
after
do.
this. We'll
Yeah.
talk after this, and maybe I can help out. I'm looking for a job. I tried to get a job for the city. It didn't go so well. We'll have to wait for a little while and on.
You're
But-
bored, retired?
Oh no, I'm not bored. I
haven't had one
no,
bored day in my time.
I enjoy being.
He's going
retired.
golfing today.
I'm going golfing today. I got on a tee time today and at 2:30.
Where you
And I'm
going?
playing with some Mount Pleasant. I'm
Oh,
a
okay.
member at Mount Pleasant, so
Okay.
I enjoy that. We have the best golf course in this area. The conditions of that golf course is outstanding. You guys, anyone out there
When I
that wants
played
to
golf,
play with
when I
me,
played golf,
call
I
me
played
up.
there a couple of times. It was great,
You know?
yeah.
See, anybody that wants to vote for Rodney, I think the most important thing is money. So it would be, if you write a check, committee to elect, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Still
very
that
good
way?
point. No, thank you, Bob. Yes.
Yeah.
No, well, it is. It's just,
My campaign manager would not be happy. Yeah, no, look, raising money, it's a campaign to elect Rodney Elliott. You can you can do it online. There's Act Blue. Send me a check. Look, I get all tongue tied when I don't like to ask people for money.
No,
but you do
you
need
know
it.
something,
You do need it.
let me ask. Look, we need someone at the State House for Lowell, and being selfish that I am, you know what I mean? I like Rodney. I like the idea when I was, down there for this award that I got from Tara, put me up for a Latino award, which I enjoy. But the other thing I enjoyed was watching you interact with the Latino caucus and the respect that I saw the other representatives and senators that were there give you, and not just because it was a mix of, and being the first time there at the State House, I was in awe anyway. I want to go back and do the tour and read all the stuff on the walls. But that alone, money and connections.
Hey, tomorrow,
we
City
need
Light,
that.
we got Linda Bound's gonna be the host. Regional School Committee and Lowell School Committee, man. Freddie Bau, who's coming, and City Councilor Kim Scott, she's coming tomorrow. And I'm for Rodney because he'll stand up for the city. He'll stand up for our part of the state.
And you know something? And I'm going to have a party. I've just decided right now. We're going to have a party for. We'll figure something out. I'll raise money. So people
roast.
get those checks. I know you don't have checkbooks anymore, but Act Blue will take your money. You know what I
Venmo
mean?
or whatever.
And I'll make sure we'll get the stuff out on
Have you caught-
Facebook, whatever.
Cisco,
And you'll have a DJ.
you talked about how he's very supportive of Latinos. Have you caught Rodney singing in Khmer?
I've seen
Boy,
him
it was
dance.
going good till
I've
3
seen-
minutes before the
I've
end of the
seen,
show.
I've seen him dance, and I love the hand moves, and I'm gonna have to learn some of those.
Gotta put the robe
Can
on
we
him,
cut
Joe.
this
Put the
quick,
robe on him.
John?
Put the robe
I
on
didn't
him.
mind all the fastball
Next-
questions, but
Next time you gotta come in garb.
Well, like
He was the mayor. I never forget. He sang the Wild Rover at the St. Patrick's Day party. He put his own words to it. Remember that? The Wild
oh
Rover.
yeah,
That
we
was
had the
great.
Governor Baker there, and we had
That was
Representative
great.
Langle,
Yeah.
Murphy, Golden. We had
That was a good time.
we had wigs on. Oh, it was a good
Yeah.
time.
so, like my friend Cliff Krieger would always say, we got a couple of minutes. Say what you want to
Yeah,
the
your
people
elevator
out there,
speech, as
buddy.
Cliff would say.
Yeah, no, look, I think we've talked about it all. You know, I mentioned when I was the mayor, it was an honor. It was really one of the greatest honors, second to, you know, getting married and having children. But, you know, I love being a state senator, a state representative, and city councilor. It really is an honor. I don't take it for granted for one day. I go to work every day, and I didn't touch on constituent services, but my office gets calls and calls, whether it's like people that have trouble with their unemployment. I'm talking dozens and dozens, and we address that. That's a priority. Licenses, housing, you name it. That's an important element, and I think that, you know, being a state senator, I'm gonna continue to put that effort and energy. Showing up is one thing, but really doing the work behind the scenes. And I think that's a testament, as I mentioned to Senator Kennedy. You don't always have to be splashed in the front, you know, the front pages. Work's done behind the scenes, just to get the work done. And you're going to get someone that's going to work 7 days a week, as I have been.
Yeah, no, Senator Kennedy, he was my favorite mayor. I worked for 4 different mayors. We have to say goodbye. Good
Well,
luck, Rodney.
I like Bob. He could sing. Can you sing?
I can sing, but you wouldn't like to hear me sing.
All right, have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day.
Take care, folks.
Thank you, Rodney.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thanks
Thank
for
you having me.
watching.